Ladies and gentlemen, the man on your screen has no other name than João Gomes Crivinho. This man is a Portuguese representative and also is representing the interest of the European Union in Africa, West Africa to be specific. And his business is down to diplomacy, is down to trade, is down to economics, is down to whatever development they called it.
À Abidjan, dans le cadre de la réouverture de l'ambassade du Portugal en Côte d'Ivoire, le ministre portugais des Affaires étrangères, João Gomes Crivinho, rend visite ce mercredi au palais présidentiel. Il y rencontre le président de la République, Alassane Ouattara. C'est une occasion pour le ministre portugais d'échanger avec le chef de l'État ivoirien sur le renforcement de la coopération entre le Portugal et la Côte d'Ivoire.
J'ai eu l'opportunité d'écouter de la part de son Excellence le Président de la République sa vision sur la région, sur toute la région, sur l'état de l'économie et les perspectives économiques pour la Côte d'Ivoire. Et je suis convaincu que le Portugal peut avoir un rôle à jouer, soit dans les relations entre la région et l'Union européenne, soit aussi dans la promotion du développement et de la croissance au Côte d'Ivoire. D'ailleurs, les dernières années ont été des années excellentes en ce qui concerne la croissance, ce qui est très attirant pour les entreprises portugaises. Et je suis convaincu que dans les prochaines années, on verra de plus en plus d'entreprises portugaises present.
But according to the information we have, the answer he got from the AES is an outright no. You see, a lot of people don't still understand the struggle. And I could see that when we heard that this man got a no from AES, that they don't want such diplomacy, they've drawn the line. A lot of people said it's better that you keep your enemies close than far away. You don't understand that every enemy should be far away at this point. First of all, to tell you why it is very, very important to keep these people away from you, look at the reaction of Hillary Clinton after they were able to capture Muammar Gaddafi.
Tomorrow.
Wow.
Unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed. Yeah.
Unconfirmed.
No.
What up?
Unconfirmed reports about Gaddafi being captured.
Oh, wow.
Really? Unconfirmed. Yeah. We've had too many. We've had a bunch of those before. We've had, you know, have had him captured a couple of times.
The land of unconfirmed.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Did it have anything to do with your visit?
No, I'm sure it did.
This was her reaction, and these were the things she said. And again, look at what happened to Patrice Lumumba.
Independence came to over a dozen states peaceably, but in the Belgian Congo, freedom was followed by rioting and army mutiny, a reign of terror and disorder. United Nations troops were called in to avert total chaos. For months, the political pattern kept changing with kaleidoscopic speed, until pro-red Premier Lumumba was seized by the forces of strongman Colonel Mobutu. But the struggle for power was far from over.
Look at Congo today. Do you know that the first thing they did was to use disinformation campaign against Patrice Lumumba? The people that attacked Patrice Lumumba were not the Belgians initially. The people that attacked Patrice Lumumba was his people with the help of Mobutu Sese Seko. And to tell you the truth, Patrice Lumumba was dehumanized. The dehumanization happened with the help of the Belgians. But the people that started the job was our own fellow brothers. So I will also say this, right? So when a lot of people say, why did Vladimir Putin send Russian Wagner machineries to go and protect Ibrahim Traore? You know, Russia they were watching what happened to Patrice Lumumba. They were watching during the time of Gaddafi, but it wasn't Putin that was there. You know, Russians has always been the people that always supported African growth, but just that some selfish individual among the so-called Africans always want to plunder Africa back into misery. And that is why Vladimir Putin looked at it that, you know what, Sometimes we need to protect you people against yourself, because sometimes when you look at the greed of an African man, anything is possible, you know. So that is why there must be a deterrent sometimes. So this man, yeah, he has a good reputation, but for the fact that he's representing Portuguese and the European Union interest, it's an outright no, because the Portuguese equally colonized Africa to an extent, but not to a very large extent like the European Union did. And there's a lot of great things that's happening to Burkina Faso. They thought Burkina Faso would have been on its knees right now. They did not believe. They used terrorism, and you can see with the help of Russia, Burkina Faso and the AES is continuing to decimate these terrorists. Again, they use disinformation like they used to do, like they use the same pattern for the past African greats. It did not work. The more they tried to disinform the African population, the more they made Ibrahim Traore and his comrades, the more they made them famous. So right now, I feel like the biggest problem these people have is they have come to realize that, okay, it's like we can't touch these people. So now they're trying to send diplomats. What I think is this, is the devil coming in a sheep's clothing. And for those of you that still think that sometimes a total deterrence from your enemy is not the best answer, maybe you have to think again.
When it came time for them to ask for allowances so they could peacefully return to their families, they were met with bullets instead.
In 1944, French officers gave the order to open fire on Senegalese tirailleurs. It happened at the Tiaroy camp, not far from here.
Here were men who were peacefully living here. There were wars on the other side. They came and took them, whether willingly or by force. They were brought to fight in extremely harsh conditions, and the recognition that should have followed has not come for 80 years. They were repatriated here, and when it came time for them to ask for allowances so they could peacefully return to their families, they were met with bullets instead.
Will you call for reparations for the descendants of those tirailleurs who died at Tiaroye?
Those tirailleurs were simply asking for what was rightfully theirs, namely their allowance after the war. Instead of that allowance, they received bullets. The allowance is still owed.
Maybe you have to think again.